Scripps News senior political correspondent Charles Benson joins me now from Milwaukee. And Charles, by now, I was just talking to Nate Reed up on Capitol Hill, and he has confirmed a number of members of Congress were also informed that they were on this list. We know it extended well beyond just Minnesota. And I know you had the chance to speak to lawmakers in your state, not necessarily on this list, but about how they are feeling now that you're seeing another example of political violence in this country.
Yeah, let's first talk about the list. Andrew, I do have confirmation from the U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin. She informed us after she learned that her name was on what she called the alleged shooters list of names, saying she is grateful for law enforcement and their swift action to keep the community safe. The other person we've got confirmation from is Representative Mark Pocan. He is from the Madison area. He's saying he heard his name. He uses the term that his name was found in notebooks found inside the car of the alleged shooter, saying, quote, "I will not back down in the face of terror." But he did add, he says, we as elected officials need to do better to lower the temperature. He says his schedule remains unchanged. So I did have a chance to talk with a state lawmaker. His name is Chris Larson. Happened to be just outside St. Paul, Minnesota over the weekend, found out about all of this activity. Look, he knows that he lives a very public life. These are public servants. They're out in the community. They do things. Their job requires them to be out there, to stay engaged, to be engaged. And he says that's the type of state lawmaker he wants to be and will continue to be. The overwhelming concern here has been about what many people believe is a rise in political violence, political extremism, and they're concerned about the need to call out the extremism. Senator Larson telling me, he says, yes, there is bipartisan condemnation of the shootings, but there needs to be more to call out what he says is more and more political extremism.
Yeah, and Charles, you spent the weekend for us in Minnesota after the news first broke. I know Milwaukee is normally your home base, but just in that area of the country, what sort of reaction have you seen over the past few days? And has it been, in some ways, bipartisan? Is there a sort of kumbaya moment in the face of what has been a really disturbing news story, with more details today coming out that are quite honestly chilling?
Yeah, it's definitely a bipartisan response. When I talked directly to people, the most moving place we were at was this growing memorial outside of the state capitol, where you could see flowers and messages, really heartfelt messages for what has been a heartbreaking moment for the entire state of Minnesota. And the overwhelming message from folks is, why can't we have political conversations, difficult conversations? Many of them pointing to the No Kings rallies, where millions of people across the country participated, and they were largely, overwhelmingly peaceful events. And they just draw on that contrast of the protests, the rallies on Saturday, and these events that unfolded in just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota. The concern here is, what else are we going to learn? The investigators have described in chilling detail about what they know so far about the alleged shooter. But what are in those notes? What is the indication? What was the apparent motive here in these shootings? And so there's still much to learn. But as I talk to people, not only here, lawmakers, but people who were at that memorial, they all wanted to bring it down. Let's just have conversations. Let's talk about who we are and where we need to go.
Yeah, Charles, of course, you and I were both in Milwaukee days after that shooting, the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, and there was that bringing it down for a moment or two, and then people kind of returned to their own ways. We'll see if that's the case again with this latest round of political violence. Senior political correspondent Charles Benson for us in Milwaukee. Charles, thank you.